Hey guys, I'm gonna show you the 3 best ways to play Critter Crash when it comes to what trainer you choose and which critters do you aim for depending on what trainer do you play. First, I thought I would make a tier list about what trainer and what critters are the best. But then I found out that that wouldn't make any sense because you can choose the trainer that you want anyways, so it is not random. You don't need a selection of trainers that work because you can always choose the one that you want. And let me show you how this works first. Here, when you click on enter, right? And on play. Now you have this selection here and you can refresh and see what trainers are available and then pick one, but you can simply just go back, press that X and re-roll that way again, right? And you can just repeat this process until you got the trainer that you are looking for. Repeat it all the times and there you go, boom, you have the trainer that you want and then you start playing. This is not random as it seems, right? I don't know why they did it that way and just didn't let us choose the trainer that we want to begin with, but this is how it works and this is how we have to do it, so let's roll with that. And that's why a top 3 is more than enough and everything that you need. So let's dive into it. Coming in at rank number 3 is the trainer Via. What her ability says is, once your monster dog reaches level 3, you can spend 2 coins to seek out an aquatic piece. Aquatic pieces are the second best pieces you can possibly have in the game, and I'm gonna show you how this plays and why the aquatic afflatus is so incredibly good. What makes the aquatic afflatus so incredibly good is the mechanic called Devour. And this wolf here is what you always want to start a game with, and you want to constantly feed him and have him devour aquatic pieces non-stop. So let's take a look at his ability at the end of the shopping phase. Devour the aquatic piece within 1 tile in front and gain a coin. That is what you want to do every single turn from turn 1 and onwards, because he will get stronger and stronger and stronger. What Devour does is, let's say you put an aquatic piece in front of this wolf that has stat lines of 2, 3, right? 2 attack, 3 health. Then the wolf would kill this piece and gain its stats. That's how this wolf becomes stronger and stronger and stronger every turn until he is completely unkillable and carries you through the entire game. So yeah, every single aquatic piece that you get your hands on, whatever it might be, right? It can be this thing, you devour it. Mainly though, you want to have emphasis on aquatic pieces that you devour that have a retreat ability. More on that in just a second. So you see here, piece after piece, this one, no matter what aquatic piece you would find, you buy it and you let your wolf devour it, no matter what it possibly is. Even this Yeti, right? Do not hesitate to devour pieces that are very, really strong to begin with, because yeah, your wolf would get even stronger. And in this Snowmaster Yeti case, he has a very, very bad ability. It's detrimentally shitty, so just devour this shit and get the 9 attack and the 5 health onto your wolf. Everything that comes in gets devoured by the wolf, with emphasis on pieces that can retreat. Why do we want to devour pieces that have a retreat ability to begin with? Because there's one piece that you don't want to devour, and this is this furry anglerfish. What it does is, after an ally aquatic piece retreats, this piece gains +2 attack and +2 HP, and this is permanent. It's very weird. Sometimes the abilities say this is permanent and sometimes they don't, but this here, this is permanent. So every time your wolf would devour a piece that has a retreat ability, this devouring triggers the retreat ability. And therefore, not only would the wolf get stronger by devouring its target, no, but this every single furry anglerfish on the field gets +2/+2. So this is what you aim for. You aim for the wolf, he devours everything except for this fish. Also, another side note is you don't want to level this fish up, right? You can combine pieces and increase their level. With this fish, that is not what you want. You want to have as many fishes on the board as you can, so that every time your wolf devours something, this gets +2/+2. This snowballs really fast. Here's an example of an early to mid game board state and to your board to look like in the early to mid game. You see I have 2 wolves devouring things with retreat effects, and I have multiple fishes that get +2/+2 every time my wolves devour something. So all of these 3 fishes that I have on the board, they get +4/+4 every single turn now, because I have 2 wolves that devour stuff that has retreat effects. Once we move into the later stages of the game, we will get our hands onto another very key card, and this is our game finisher. It's called Gorgon the Sea Monster, and its ability is, when taking damage, devour the aquatic piece within 1 tile behind and gain HP +12. You can't devour other, like Gorgon, the sea monster, cannot devour another Gorgon. You would never want to do that in the first place. And this is, once you get your wolves and your fishes fed by devouring stuff and the +2/+2, right? We just walked over this. Then this Gorgon comes in to devour these fed wolves and the fed fishes to become an unstoppable raid boss, and it will destroy everything in its path. It's gonna be completely unkillable, and this is, those are the reasons why the aquatic pieces are so incredibly strong, and this is why Via is like, one of the best trainers you can possibly find in this game and play. That's it for Via though. Let me show you real quick a few more board examples, right? Board states. Why do I want to show you some other board examples? Because you can make very easily here, can make mistakes. If you look at this board state here, this is not how you want your board to look. This is a mistake. Because remember, the Gorgon devours the aquatic pieces behind him, and the pieces behind the Gorgon, you want those pieces to be the strongest possible things you can have. The number 1 strongest piece on the board, right? That is the one that you want to have behind your Gorgon, so the Gorgon devours it. This is the way how you make your Gorgon this incredible unkillable demon king that carries you through the game. Not like this though. Don't put weak pieces behind the Gorgon. Put the fat fishes and the fat wolves behind him at the number 1 spot behind him. That is very important. Here is another example, and this is how you want your board to look. You want the wolves that you fed throughout the entire early and mid game be devoured by the Gorgon for him to become the main raid boss. And this is how you play with Via. This is how you play the aquatic pieces to maximum efficiency. Now let's move on to rank number 2, which is Isolde. Why is she coming in at rank number 2? Let's figure this out and take a look at her ability first. It makes it so that your monster dog is always guaranteed to include at least 1 ghost fort piece on refresh. So you get, you have 1 ghost fort piece guaranteed, and more if you are lucky, right? Why is this so incredibly overpowered? That is because the ghost fort afflatus is by far the best afflatus that your pieces can possibly have. That is of course for multiple reasons, but there's one piece in particular that I have to show you first before we talk about anything else, because this piece is that is the best piece in the entire game. Nothing comes even remotely close, and that is the Tongue of Deception. This is a circle piece that you put into the mid lane, and it makes it so that every single time you summon a ghost fort piece, this piece gets +3 attack and +3 HP. Now, I already mentioned how important HP is, and that you want your mid pieces to boost HP instead of attack. The second best piece to do that in the game gives you 1 HP. This one gives you, this Tongue of Deception gives you 3 though. Already the best support piece in the entire game, easily. But there's one thing that makes this through the roof overpowered, and that is the fact that if you level this piece up to level 2, this effect becomes Grand Attack plus 6 and HP plus 9. And HP plus 9. Nothing is as even close to be overpowered. Like, it is ridiculous. And it gets even better because the Ghost Fort pieces have an absolutely busted synergy with this thing. Let's talk about it. The Ghost Fort Afflators is all about having pieces that have retreat effects and summoning other pieces on retreat. When they die, they summon something else. Now keep this Tongue of Deception in mind and what I said about its level 2, right? Let's take a look now at the other pieces. So first of all, this one here, the Mutant Winged Cat. That is most of the times how you will start your game off. This is the early and the mid game here. Even, yeah, it scales into the late game as well. Let's read it. After the purchase of a piece with retreat, the whole Ghost Fort Afflators is all about cards with retreat. It grants +1 A attack and +1 HP to this piece. Again, remember the Tongue of Deceptions, remember this effect, and remember that the Ghost Fort is all about pieces that have retreat effects. Okay, let's move on and take a look at the other pieces. Here, you see 2/2. When it dies, it summons a 1/1 something, right? Here again, after the summon of this piece, okay, this is the Sotiki. Yeah, this is not a particularly good piece. They are very, very strong, as you can see, but they have a little bit of their HP pool is a little bit too low if you don't have the Tongue of Deception in play when you summon this piece. So they are not particularly recommended, right? If you somehow can, you would refrain from using this unless you have a level 2 Tongue of Deceptions. So here again, there's another piece. After an allied Ghost Fort piece retreats, this piece gains +2 attack and +1 HP. Though, again, this is not permanent. The Fairy Anglerfish that I showed you with the aquatic pieces, that is permanent. This one here for some reason is not permanent. So you would have to have him in the back line and have pieces in front of him that retreat, that trigger retreat, and that, yeah, therefore this dog would then get buffed. But again, this is not a core piece. The core piece is that what I showed you at the beginning, the one that whenever you summon something with retreat, he gets +1/+1. And the Tongue of Deception, of course, that is the most important thing of them all. Here, another piece. Retreat, it summons a 4/2. Here, retreat, it summons a random level 2 Ghost Fort piece with an additional retreat effect. This is here, like, wow, this is already extremely busted, right? This is one of the best cards in the game, and especially together with Ghost Fort. And yeah, let's keep moving and look at even more pieces here. Another thing, right? It retreats, it summons. And that's it. Like, you already, like, I think you get the point here. Ghost Fort. You have guaranteed pieces of them every single turn by playing Isolde. You have extremely good synergy with this retreat effect. Pretty much everything here has a retreat effect. And now comes the caveat, right? The thing that makes this so incredibly busted. Because every time you remember, right? Every time you summon a Ghost Fort, this thing gets +6, +9 if Tongue of Deception is level 2. And every time this piece would die, it would trigger its retreat effect and summon something else. And the thing that it summons also gets +6, +9. So, I mean, you can see how this is completely busted, right? See here, this thing would come in at 7/8, it would summon something that would get +6, +9, and every single piece does this, right? Not only when you summon something, this thing gets +6, +9, and no, because when it dies, it summons something else that also gets +6, +9, and this is just completely out of control. Of course, you have to aim at getting Tongue of Deception to level 2. This is where every single piece of yours turns into an unstoppable raid boss. It is absolutely incredible. And remember, right? You will always purchase these pieces with retreat effects because everything has a retreat. And this makes this one here, this Mutant Wing Cat, +1/+1. Every single turn, this thing grows by +1/+1. At least, right? If you summon multiple pieces, it gets even stronger. And then remember, when you summon it with the Tongue of Deception on the field, it gets +3/+3. Absolutely incredible. Of course, you would want to get this to level 2, but even if you don't, even just this +3/+3 is already absolutely incredible, and every single piece of yours gets it twice every single round. This is what makes this deck the best deck in the game, and it's not even close. Now I can already tell you, maybe you already realized this. How do I say this is the best deck in the game by far? How come this is not rank number 1? How come Isolde is not the best trainer then? That is simply because if you don't have this Tongue of Deception, sometimes you are a little bit on the weaker side. But most of the times you are fine even without this Tongue of Deception, because since you always are guaranteed every single turn to have these Ghost Fort pieces on the field, you will have an easy time to level them up and make them stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, right? So this deck is a very, very strong deck, a top tier deck, even without the Tongue. The Tongue of Deception is only here to like break the ceiling with this and make it the number 1 by far. Without the Tongue though, it's still very, very consistent and very, very strong, as I said. You're guaranteed to have them, and you can level them up to make them stronger and stronger and stronger, and every time something dies, it spawns something new that is also quite strong. So there you go, that was rank number 2. So now it's time to move on to rank number 1, and who else could it be but the trash bag with Matilda in it? It is of course Mrs. Bubble. Who do you think about first when you think about critters? You think about Mrs. Bubble. So what is her absurdly busted ability? You gain a coin on turn 1. On turn 2 you gain 2 coins. On turn 3 you gain 3 coins. On turn 4 you gain 4 coins. And so on and so forth. This snowballs like nothing else. This is a trainer that you can play anything you would possibly want with. Everything works. You are not bound to an Afflatus, you're not bound to a card, you're not bound to anything. You can do whatever you please, whatever the randomness of cards, whatever the randomness of pieces, I should say, gives you, you can work with it. You will be able to level up everything anyways, everything will become strong anyways due to that. And that's Mrs. Bubble. Although there is one Afflatus in particular that I want to talk to you about, because this is more efficient than anything else you could possibly play together with Mrs. Bubble, because Mrs. Bubble makes this Afflatus really come online. Without Mrs. Bubble, this Afflatus is kinda garbage, but she makes this like one of the best things in the game. But remember, you can play anything you want with Mrs. Bubble. It does not matter. She is kind of a free win. Honestly, this is just incredible. But anyway, let's talk about the Afflatus, which is the Mine Afflatus. And there are 2 particular things that makes this Afflatus unique. And those are the mechanics that evolve around selling, purchasing, and granting top hats through to that. The top hat is simply, it gives an allied mine piece +1/+1. So let's take a look at this like real quick. You see this snail? Whenever you sell a piece, it grants a top hat. Here, when you purchase this, it grants a top hat to all allied mine pieces. Your purchase effects trigger twice. 3 times even if you level this up to level 2, by the way, extremely busted. Then here you sell you gain top hats. You purchase, you gain top hats. Yeah, even stronger, right? You purchase, you gain a coin. You purchase, you gain top hats, right? You sell, you see the point. You sell a piece, you purchase a piece, you summon a piece, and you repeat the process. In order for you to be able to do that, actually, what do you need? You need a lot of coins. Who gives you all of these coins? Exactly, Mrs. Bubble. And by selling, by purchasing, by summoning, you always grant all of your field, or a lot of pieces on your field, these +1/+1 buffs. And since you level your pieces up, they will grant more and more and more and more +1/+1 buffs due to these top hats as the game continues. You will reach a point where you have pieces on the field that have almost 100 attack and almost 100 defense. I will show you a board state in just a second, but don't underestimate what I want to say, right? Is don't underestimate this golden carbuncle, because when you sell this, remember, you get a coin, you grant top hats due to other pieces effects, right? Very important. You always have to sell your pieces to grant these top hats, and when you do, you summon something else. That also makes it so that when you sell it, again, you gain a coin and you gain top hats. And the thing that you summon with this golden carbuncle also has the effect that it summons another one when you sell it. So point is, when you play this golden carbuncle, you can sell it 3 times actually, and you grant top hats every time you sell it and you get your coins back. So this has very, very high value here. Whenever you see this, you definitely buy it and then sell it 3 times, right? You buy it, you play it, and then you sell it 3 times. That way, your other pieces grant you top hats whenever you sell something, right? This one, for example, right here, it gains +1/+1 every time you sell something. You see the stats here already, 28-30, and this is the mid game, right? Here your purchase effects will trigger twice on something. You grant a top hat when you purchase. Here you sell a piece, you distribute top hats. If you get this thing to level 2 or 3, you grant even more top hats, and that's the whole point of this deck. You sell, you purchase, you play, you repeat. And the only way that this is really effective and really shines is due to the coins that Mrs. Bubble gives you. That's why I want to recommend playing the mine afflators together with Mrs. Bubble, right? So now let me show you a ridiculous board state just for fun real quick. Yeah, here it is, right? It gets even more crazy. That wasn't even the last turn. But look at this. Look at all the level 3s. Everything here is level 2. You see a piece with 91 attack and 91 health. Like, what, dude? Just look at the sheer numbers that you see on your screen right here. And again, that wasn't even, and the level 2 and the level 3, the amounts of it, out of control. And yeah, as I said, the game was going on. This wasn't even the last turn. It gets even more and more and more and more and more crazy. It is an absolute blast to play Mrs. Bubble, especially with everything, but especially with the mine afflators. And that's kind of about the video, guys. That's all I wanted to talk about. I hope that was informative and fun. If you like reverse 1999 content, please consider leaving a follow on my channel. I would really appreciate it. But until next time, take care of yourselves, have a great day, and this mode is amazing.